Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for the second time today with my new Charlotte Tilbury lipstick on, which is Super Romance. Now, I've been meaning to bring you this review for a week now nearly, but I wanted to test this out for a few days rather than just do a first impression, so that I could really give you, because sometimes with these things I try them out and I'm really impressed on the first go, and then I start to see what the hiccups are. You know, that's what you often see with concealers. And I'm glad that I did. I'm going to tell you why. So this is quite a new product. I think it came out in February, and it's by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Concealer. Now they do a few things in their hyaluronic range. I've looked at their foundation, and a lot of people with dry skin said it dried their skin out, which of course hyaluronic is not supposed to do, but it didn't get that great reviews. But this has had some very good reviews, and I have been looking to get, I think there's a couple of problems that you get with concealers. So, and I like the fact that they're putting hyaluronic in concealers now. So let me explain why. So if you have got a fine lines and dryness under your eyes, and the eyes don't have any oil glands, the under eye area, so they dry out quite easily. They can dry out quite easily. If you have fine lines there, and you use a very creamy concealer, you are going to target those fine lines. The fine lines are not going to look as obvious because you're putting moisture and you're plumping up those fine lines. However, the emollients in a very moisturizing concealer are then going to make it gather into those fine lines and start creasing. So if you then look for a matte concealer and you put a matte concealer on, that doesn't crease as much, because it's not emollient and it's not going to gather into those fine lines, but it's going to make the under eye look drier, and therefore it's going to make the lines that you've got look even more deep set. So it's always a bit of a weighing up game with concealers. Is if I get one that's too matte, it's going to make me look like I've got really deep lines, and if I get one that's too creamy, it's just going to crease. So when they started to introduce hyaluronic acid into concealers, I thought, what a great idea, because really, essentially, what you want to get the best of both worlds is something with a very light kind of gel formula that is going to be moisturizing, but without having a lot of oils in it that are then going to settle into fine lines. And to a large extent, this does the trick, but it's got some snags as well. But let me first show you the product. So this is what it is. It's like a pen, but like a click stick, it's got a brush. Now this brush is very soft. The only thing is that when you click, so you click it at the bottom, when you click it, it actually dispenses quite a lot of product into the brush all at once. First, it doesn't hardly do any at all, as you can see. But then you click it again and suddenly you get all of that, which is actually enough for 2 eyes. Now, you know I've already put concealer on, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. And also you can see I've got quite a few milia at the moment, and that's because my eyes get very dry and I have to put something oily underneath to actually, because they become really paper dry, but then that causes milia. So you're always trying to find the best of both worlds. So now I've put that amount and I've still got a load on the brush. So that is a little bit of the brush is great to use, but by the time you've done one pump, there's too much on the brush. If I now did this, let me just show you with this, I'll show you. I've now got to paint it all the way down here in order to use what's on the brush. So that is a little bit of a snag point to it. I'll do it, you know, I'll be one of those Instagram people that does their concealer all the way down to the bottom of their nose, just to show you how much that one pump, both eyes, all the way down to here. Right, now I can probably target this one a bit more. So I'm dabbing it with the brush, and it's very good. Now, the reason I'm doing it over the top of another concealer is I think this is a great texture. It seems to have the best of both worlds in terms of it's a gel-like formula that doesn't settle into fine lines. But it's not mattifying either. You see what I've done there, right? So it's a really, really good formula in that respect. The only thing about it is I find it wasn't good enough coverage for me. So what I've been doing is experimenting to see whether it layers well over something else. So today I've actually got Charlotte's Flawless Filter underneath, and used a tiny bit of her foundation as well, just to use as a concealer under my eyes. And then I've just layered this on top, and then I get the coverage I like. But you may not need that amount of coverage, in which case you might be happy with it on its own. I'm just going to paint some of this. I'll paint it on my wrists. I've still got the swatches from the last video. See what I mean? Now that is far too much, so I just paint this here so that you can see it gives a decent amount of coverage. But if you've got dark circles or you've got a bit of pigmentation, it's not going to be quite enough. Once you've brushed it in, I'm going to show you my wrist at the moment. It's not going to be quite enough to hide. I mean, there isn't much to hide, but I think you could see what I mean. You could still see the darkness of my veins underneath. But a very, very good formula. And I find that now that I don't want to actually put any powder on that, because then that's going to mattify it and it's going to take all the skin benefits away from it. So I would give this about, I would say, a 7 out of 10. In that I think it's great. Hyaluronic acid should be in more concealers because it's something that's naturally found in your skin. It's going to give you the moisture without it settling into fine lines, and it's not going to be too mattifying. So it's a great product. It's a kind of hybrid skincare concealer. It says extra smoothing skincare concealer. The only thing is that I find it's better when I layer it over something else. You may find that you don't need that much coverage under your eyes. For me, that's the area where I've got all the pigmentation, I've got the darkness, I've got the fine lines. So that's where I feel like I need more coverage. But on the whole, I would say 7 out of 10. And the fact that it comes with its own brush, once you've actually blended out some of the product, it's actually a really nice soft brush to use. Unlike the Click Expert foundation where the brush is so hard you wouldn't want to use it on your face, this brush is actually really good and a great solution for carrying around in your bag. So just if you can get around actually doing half a pump, you can kind of get, if you get like half clicking it, you might be able to get half a pump out. That's the only downfall to it. But really, really lovely looking concealer. Let me just close in, obviously with another concealer underneath, but it's not creasing and it's sunk into the skin. So yes, I'm very pleased with that. And I'm glad that I tried it. So any questions, do put your comments below. It comes in, dropping stuff on the floor again. It comes in 6 shades, but because of the coverage, I think that they will be, as Charlotte would call it, I know we're not talking Charlotte, quite stretchable. A lot of people seem to be saying that these days. The shades are quite stretchable, meaning that the coverage isn't so great that you've got to get a perfect match. I use the shade medium, number 400. There's a 300 which is light medium. There's a medium tan which is 500, and there's 600 which is dark, and then you've got your light ones up to that point as well. So 6 shades. I got this reduced on Look Fantastic when they have offers on, so have a look there. And I think they've got some complimentary gift when you spend so much on Look Fantastic at the moment, but they've always got offers on, as you know. So that is the concealer, and my mouth has suddenly gone really dry, so I'm off to get myself a cup of tea. Take care, have a lovely day, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.